You're listening to the Scars and Guitars podcast series that syndicates for the A-List Online, and my name, it's Andrew Mackay-Smith. Hope you're doing well out there. The interview subject that I've got coming up for you, it's another special one. Gosh, they just keep on coming on the podcast episode. I'm so grateful to be able to bring you conversations with all of these legends, and this one, it's Karl Sanders from the US death metal outfit Nile. Now, the reason for the conversation with Karl is to promote Vitriolic Rites, which is the band's new album for 2019. It'll be released in November. Apart from that, we talk about a few other episodes throughout Karl's career. He's a good bloke, and I really enjoyed having this conversation. So here he is, Karl Sanders from the band Nile. Hey mate, how you going?
Doing fine, and you, sir?
I'm very good. Yeah, it's a sprightly 5:30 in the morning over here, mate, but I'm up anyway.
Oh fuck, man, that's fucking early. Do you want to do this a little later? Would that be better for you?
No, this is perfect, and you know why? Because I've got two young daughters, aged 4 and 6, and believe me, this is the time of day when they're not up, so you can't hear them yelling in the background. So,
dude,
yeah.
I know exactly what you're talking about. I had for most of Niall's career, my son, and the only time I could get any work done was after he went to bed.
Yeah, it's a lot like that, man. And the mornings, I don't mind the mornings, to be honest with you, because it's when the sky is the clearest. You can hear the birds out there. I tend to get, have a couple of peppermint teas, that sort of thing. It's you never sort of look forward to getting up at that time the night before. But I think once you're up, after 5 minutes of being up, you're ready to go and take on the day. You know what I mean?
I sure do. Fuck yeah.
Cool, mate. Well, look, I've got to tell you, from the outset, I've been a fan for about 20 years. Okay, ever since since Nefer and Carr. Yeah, about as long as I think as you'd find a fan in Australia, actually. And the album of yours that I really got into and probably still listen to this day is actually Black Seeds of Vengeance. And I remember being over in the United States, actually, when I was travelling around there, and that was a great companion to me. So a lot of my memories, actually, of the United States are wrapped up in Nile, if you can believe it.
It's funny how music is like that. We associate music with places and people, and it really sticks with us. It's crazy how that works.
It does, yeah. And I've always loved the best thing about your music, apart from it being. It's okay. So it's beautifully crafted, but it's intricate. It's a lot like you are a musical representation of a hieroglyph in so many ways, and I don't want that to come across as a cliche. I genuinely mean that because there's.
No, I think I know what you're saying, and I agree.
Yeah, there's just so much for you to wrap your ears around constantly. And look, I've had this album here, Vitriolic Rites, for about 2 weeks or so ever since Nuclear Blast put it in the portal, and I think from the fans' perspective, they're going to be really grateful to know that you stayed the course. This is another album that continues in the grand tradition of music that you were renowned for crafting. It's not a left field turn, if you know what I'm saying. And I know for a fact, mate, that Nile fans really appreciate that from you, man. So that's the first point that I'll make.
I'd have to agree with that. I think it's important, if you really believe in what you're doing, to stay true, to remain faithful to your ideals and principles, the fundamentals upon which you're built. The last thing I want to do is disappoint fans, which it's so easy to do. People have high expectations.
Mm-hmm.
So it was important to us as we move into the future, with the new lineup, to have respect for who we are, where we came from, what we're doing, and who our fans are. That really matters to me. We've taken great care to craft a unique identity.
Yeah.
So why abandon it? The trick is to take that and do new things with it, to move into the future with it.
Yeah, and you're spot on. And look, you talked about the new lineup there, so I guess that'll be another question for you. This is the first album that you've made in many years without Dallas beside you, and you've brought in Brian Kingsland. So, obviously Brian brings his own flavour and his own take on things compared to Dallas. But what different things did he bring than what Dallas would have brought in traditionally? Because the album, as I said, man, it still sounds like a brutal, brilliant Nile album.
Well, I think the songs speak for themselves. Brian is his own guy. he brings, his own, unique style of guitaring and composition. He's a different person. Yet Brian did an incredible amount of homework studying the old Nile albums. When he joined the band, not only did he learn the songs to play live, but he also watched all the archived, videos for how every lineup in the history of this band played those songs, so that he understood them more than just superficially. He really dug down deep. Um, that level of care and dedication, I think, evidences itself through what we were talking about earlier with how this album, it's moving forward and doing new things, yet we haven't abandoned who we are. And I think that's a testament to the level of dedication and hard work that Brian was willing to put in, to take on this job.
Yeah, look, it's the other thing about the album too. It's very true with all of your music though, but I've got to be specific about this album here. It's really an album best enjoyed with headphones on. So I've picked up a pair of those Apple AirPods recently, and I think they're really good, to be honest with you. They're one of the best headphones I've ever owned, and I could just hear so much going on with them. But do you get a lot of that feedback from fans that you're not necessarily... I mean, yes, you're definitely an album that you can crank over the stereo, of course you are, but you're really one of those bands that you really need to listen to with headphones in order to get all the full Nile goodness?
There's a lot of, subtle elements in Nile albums, more than just guitar, bass, and drums, that aren't necessarily immediately obvious. It takes repeated listens, for them to make themselves apparent. Certainly with the headphones on, you can hear the details, the different things going on in the stereo spectrum. This instrument over here, this layer over there, all those little touches that add subtle flavor and give it personality and life.
And did you end up working with a producer on this one? Because I think from memory you do most of this stuff yourself, but did you bring somebody in to act as a sounding board, or was it another one where you just basically did it yourself?
Well, the recording, the producing decisions, that was all done here at my place.
Yeah.
But I think a key element was Mark Lewis did the mixing and mastering, but we also talked, a lot during the production so that we were on the same page with stuff. We got, guidance from him, got his thoughts on how to go about doing things. So, yeah, production here at my place, but, it was a big team effort, from everybody's part, especially Mark Lewis. He did an incredible mixing and mastering job on this.
Oh, it's sweet.
Recording.
Yeah, no, it's been beautifully rendered, mate. Yeah, as I say, yeah, it's just, I mean, it's interesting with you guys because it's uncompromising music, isn't it? And I know you've been asked this question before, but I'm going to ask this again for you because, I think I host a podcast series, so I'm going to release this as a podcast episode if that's okay with you. And
yeah, sure. And are we bleeping out the profanity, or can we say?
Oh, no, say fucking shit and cunt as much as you want. It's you've been doing this a long time, and you've stayed the course the entire time. And we all know death metal isn't exactly the most commercially abundant genre you can do. And you are an excellent guitarist, it must be said. You're actually one of the best guitarists in the genre. But when you started out back in '92 or '93. Surely you couldn't have imagined that in 2019, for example, you'd be sitting here having a chat to a fella in Brisbane, Australia about this wonderful 25-year career that you've enjoyed.
You're absolutely right about that. When we started, we certainly did not envision this future.
There we go. Nice.
It's the wife trying to call.
You right?
Yeah, all right. She'll probably get mad that I didn't take her call, but
know the feeling.
Trying to work, honey. Sorry about that.
You can take the call if you need to. That's no dramas.
No, if it's deadly important, she'll call back.
Yep. Know the feeling again.
We didn't envision all that. Our minds were not capable of planning that far in the future. We were making music because it's what we love doing,
Hmm.
and that's the thing, very much rooted in the here and now. Um, and, coincidentally, that's exactly the feeling that we have right now
Hmm.
with this new album. Is very much rooted in the here and now. We care about making some metal today, what this band can do today.
Yeah.
Let's bang our heads today.
Hmm. Yeah, indeed, indeed, and the other thing too, mate, is this wonderful musical partnership that you've enjoyed with George for so long. Um, I remember when you had Pete, and of course, and then Tony in the band, and now George, and George has really become known as a colossus behind the kit. Of course, he's as equivalent to yourself on the drums in terms of his renowned percussive ability, if you like. So, what can you tell us about that relationship? Are you guys like is it a working partnership, or is it also a friendship as well?
It's grown into more like family. Um,
Hmm.
uh, you know, Working with George has been very much a blessing. It's one of the, few things in my life, where I tried to help someone, and they actually took it and did something good with it. Which is
That's
actually
rare.
very rewarding.
Exactly. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. But it turns out that my wife's family name, uh, on her mother's side, is Coleus, and they're Greek,
Hmm.
and they come from an area in Greece that's very close to where George's family comes from. So, uh, it's one of these things. George and I wonder, are we now related
Yeah, that's it.
in a far distant way?
Hmm.
This is kind of funny. I can't fire him now. He's fucking family.
It's sort of like this karmic. Your paths are linked karmically. Yeah, no, that's cool, man. I didn't know that. Yeah, there you go. So, hey, a couple of about a year and a half ago or so, might have been. I had an email conversation with Helmut from Belfagor, and
Yeah, but what a fucking character.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, and look, what we did talk about though was the issue that that infamous exchange outside of the Russian airport, which people can have a look at on YouTube. And what it came across to me was that you're a stand-up bloke, and that you defend your mates. And the
Damn
episode,
right.
and that's actually, I mean, it's of course it's a human quality, but it's a real Australian quality too. So there you go. But you being a stand-up bloke and that you'll defend your mates, the episode did garner a lot of attention. Is that the only time that you've had to deal with religiously motivated idiots?
Oh no. Uh, but this time was the one where uh, A, there was a camera rolling, but B, the additional complication was they were there to provoke us into a fight so
Yeah.
that we would go to jail, particularly Helmet. That was the goal. The goal was to provoke Helmet into a fight, uh, and whatever it took. If it took physically striking Helmet, that was okay because we're not Russian citizens.
Yeah.
We would go immediately to jail. Obviously, you can't play the show if you're in jail. So, I had to step in and try to keep something from happening, but yet not strike the guy in such a way that, I would be playing right into their agenda, get in a fight on Russian soil and go
Yeah.
to fuck to jail. So it's a terrible, terrible place that these guys were trying to put us in. Uh, it was a miracle that did not go any further than it did.
Yeah, I mean, I felt for you guys. I still feel for you guys watching that bloody clip because I can see, Helmet is just trying to bloody walk away, and you're not. I can see how much you want to punch this bastard. And
Yeah, dude, I wanted to so bad, but I knew, man. I knew, and that's like self-discipline. Just something I've not always had. Before, I've got a couple of black belts in a couple of different disciplines.
hmm,
And, there's the word right there, discipline.
yep,
Before I was trained, I often let my temper get the better of me and would get into all sorts of violent predicaments. But being trained, you keep your brain cooler, right? You're not easily provoked into just violent outbursts,
Hmm.
for passion's sake. You can keep your head a little cooler and think a little better.
Yeah.
And I think that very much benefited me right there. It's the difference between whether I would have beat the living crap out of this guy or not. And
Yeah.
not was the correct choice, but I couldn't let this guy, do what he was going to do to, my bandmate and tour mate.
Yeah.
I couldn't stand there and do nothing. Something had to be done.
Yeah.
Somebody needed to do something.
Yeah, I'm the same school as you, mate. I'll defend my mates that way too, actually. But hey, mate, just a quickie. How much more time have we got?
Well, you are the last guy today, so
Okay, sweet. Okay,
yeah.
no worries. I've just got a couple more questions. Is that cool?
Yeah. Take as many as you need, because you're the last one today, so there's no one waiting their turn.
Sweet. Well, I'll try and make it as interesting as I can then, because look, there's another episode from the past, and I hope you don't mind me asking this question here. You were a very well respected artist, as we've already established, and you were one of the artists that Seasons of Mist asked to comment in the press release on the then, you know where I'm headed, on the then new Morbid Angel album. And look, I've got to tell you, I've spoken to Trey's mum. I've spoken, I've had conversations with people in the Morbid Angel camp about the album, and I actually happen to really enjoy it. I've spoken to David about it. But
Right.
from your perspective, when you first heard it, okay, did you think, oh shit, it's not going to go down that well? But what really disappointed me overall, and it still disappoints me to be honest with you, is the way fans continue to respond, and some the metal injection websites, all those clickbaity websites.
Oh yeah, I fucking hate those clickbait fuckers.
Oh, I fucking hate it big time, man. I might be a journalist, man, and I do not engage in that at all. I mean, Blabbermouth pick up on my stuff, and more often than not, it's usually very positive because I always focus on the positive, as hopefully you can tell. But the question for you is, did the hysterical response to that album surprise you? Because, I mean, at the end of the day, Trey's the alpha and omega of this thing, really, alongside of Chuck, and...
I agree.
And was it... Yeah, I mean, was it really disappointing to you to see that the fans and the media reacted the way that they did? And they were saying some quite hurtful things toward Trey and Morbid.
Well, I got a couple thoughts on this, and I think with the perspective of a few years, I can see it clearly. My initial motivation, if my friends are putting out a new record and they're trying to, promote it, I stand up for my friends. Secondly, what we're talking about are pioneers of the genre, pioneers that without whom the course of metal would be very different. These are also guys who helped us have our own career, not just in the broader sense, but in the literal sense, by taking us out on tour when no one knew who the fuck we were. They helped us. All right? So I owe them a debt that can never be fully repaid for all the help they gave us early in our career. So if these people that not only we call friends, but we owe a huge debt to, say, hey, do you want to be, quoted, to help promote the new record? You say yes. You say yes. You know what? That's the right fucking thing to do. You stay loyal to your friends. Loyalty to your friends means something. Okay? That's the school I come from. So, I made a nice comment. Did I like everything on that record? No. Is that a nicely made record? Dude, it's very well produced. There are some really interesting things on there. So, I told the truth as I fucking saw it. Was helping my friends. And, dude, the amount of hate mail that I got for that was just mind-boggling. People were sending me hate mail. What the fuck? Yeah. Come on. That's like,
Yeah, it was disappointing, mate, as a fan, that other fans, and I really, it was probably the first time that I really developed a mistrust for the modern heavy metal media. I mean, there was all sorts of weird response videos and all the rest of it, and I thought, and there were a few other bands that were asked to comment, but your voices, I think, was one of the most credible. And I can totally understand why Seasons of Mist did that. They had to give it a bit of a soft entry into the market because it did sound so different. But, mate, to hear that you got hate mail over it, because you supported your mates through this, mate. I don't know. Sometimes I think just with humanity, mate, we've got to get our priorities in order.
Well, I would say that humanity is fucked. We as a species are fucking stupid as fuck for the most part, with a few bright, shiny examples that give us just enough hope to, maybe the human race is worth saving. I like to think so, but there are times, especially like this, when I start having my doubts.
Yeah. Oh, look, I'm with you. I'm with you. But hey, look, I'll move on to the next question. That is, mate, the guitar endorsements these days. Are you still with Dean, or have you gone with somebody else?
I am still with Dean. We got a new guitar model coming out in 2020. But I gotta say, man, there are some incredible new builders building incredible new guitars. Perry Ormsby recently built me a guitar that's just absolutely fabulous.
Oh, he's Australian, isn't he? I think he's in Perth.
He is an Australian fellow. It's a great guy too. Incredibly talented, builds incredible guitars. And I love the guitar he built me. But like we touched on earlier, I am a loyal guy. I've been with Dean for 19 years. They've stood by me through thick and thin. And that's the kind of guy I am, man. For better or worse, I believe in loyalty.
Yeah, indeed. So, mate, I'll make this my final question for you then. So, you must know surely that you got a lot of fans down here in Australia. So, are there plans to visit Australia on the touring cycle?
Absolutely. We're working it out for April. We're going to do Japan and then Australia. It actually makes quite a bit of logistical sense once we're on that side of the Pacific Ocean, to grab as many things as we can. So we're going to try and also work in a few Southeast Asia shows where possible. And hopefully 4 or 5 Australian shows, whatever the market will bear.
We've got family in the Philippines, man. So if you play there, I'll probably try and get along to that show as well.
Nice.
So if you can get to Cebu, hint, that'd be great too.
Fuck yeah.
Mate, it's been a pleasure to finally chat to you. As you can tell, I'm a fan. I've enjoyed your music, and I will definitely continue to enjoy your music into the future. Congratulations for everything that you've accomplished, mate. You're one of those fellas that deserve every plaudit that goes your way.
Well, thank you, Andy. It's been a real pleasure talking with you. I'm hoping that you will enjoy the rest of your day. And man, fuck yeah! For me, this is a great note to end on as well. For carrying me through the rest of my day.
Oh, fantastic, mate. No worries at all. Yeah, well as good luck with everything, man, and I definitely can't wait to see you guys down here in April, that's for sure. I will certainly be one of the fellas in the crowd.
I'll be looking for hey, we got to drink a beer together.
I hope so, man. That'd be really nice, man. No worries. All right. Thanks a lot, brother.
Okay, cheers. Have a great day.
You too, man. Catch ya. You have been listening to the Scars and Guitars podcast series that syndicates for the A-List Online, and my name, it's Andrew Mackay-Smith. That interview subject was the one and only Karl Sanders from the US death metal outfit Nile. Thanks so much for listening.